where paramount is brevity.
Hello and welcome to episode 30 of Chet and John's Reassuringly Finite Gaming Playlist. My name is Chet Roivers, with me is John Denton.
Actually with you.
Yes, over the course of the next 40 minutes or so, John and I are going to take it in turns to go through the 10 games we've been playing the most over the past week, number ones of the games we've been playing the most, blah blah. Normally we record this podcast over Skype, but because John's in London, he's at my gaff, and we're doing this podcast face to face, and god damn it, it's fucking weird.
Yeah.
So, and also we're doing it on one mic, which is really, really quite weird as well. So if there's any sound issues, I can only apologise.
It's blame me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's do this. Go ahead.
My number 10 is a game called Space Junk. I didn't have 10 games, I had 9 games. So while you were setting this podcast up, I played Space Junk on my iPhone for about 30 seconds. Space Junk is a game that is like a colourful vectory version of Asteroids, where you play as a little spaceman. And you fly around a little bit of space, shooting things, and it turns into junk, and you collect the little spanners, and then you get more stuff, and sometimes the junk is shaped like dogs, and it's alright, it's pretty good.
Freebie?
No, I think it's 69 penneth,
All right.
but I think it's English, and I've undersold it actually, it's pretty good.
Are you going to play it again?
Yeah, next time we do this exact thing, this exact scenario.
Alright. Okay, my number 10 is Smooth Operators Call City Chaos on the Xbox 360. Heard of it?
Indie game?
Yeah, have you heard of Indie Games Uprising?
Is this a website?
No, it's Eurogamer described it as the indie game equivalent of the Summer of Arcade.
Oh, right.
Where they kind of pimp
Okay.
the best of the indie games, and they've done it 3 years on the trot. I've never heard of it, and I found this really good article on Gamer Sutra.
Yeah, Kama Sutra, yeah.
Yeah, it's called Love, Hate and Xbox Live Indie Games. Read it, it's really interesting. But they spoke about the Indie Games Uprising, and by the time I read the article, they'd already come out, and there was 9, so I downloaded all of them. Smooth Operators was the first one. I only played the trial. It's not the kind of game I normally play. I'd say it's kind of like The Sims, but you're building a call centre.
Jesus, this is fucking rubbish.
No, I mean, it's not my kind of game, but it looks good. There's only so many things you can do in the trial. You have to hire staff to do certain things, and then you have to make sure they've got a toilet and an elevator and stuff,
Right.
and then you have to try and build your business. It's hard for me to say because I don't play games like that, but it looks pretty neat. But
Right.
it's not something I'd ever play.
Did I tell you about the time that my brother on The Sims made the T family, and he locked Mr. T and Booker T in a bathroom together?
That sounds alright. No, you didn't tell me that.
Yeah, that's what he did. Good on him.
Smooth Operators Call City Chaos. It's only 80 points and it looks pretty substantial. It looks well thought out, well designed. It's if that sound. I mean, I've barely described it, but if that sounds like your bag, knock yourself out. It looks pretty good.
Smooth Operators.
Call City
Just
Chaos.
like us.
Exactly.
My number 9, assuming I'm not cutting you off on your Smooth Operators.
I was done a long time ago.
my number 9 is Lumines Electronic Symphony on the Vita. I played it very, very, very briefly on the train on the way up, and I only played it because I was just desperate to use my Vita, just desperate to use it. I've barely touched it since it came out, and once again the exact same thing happened to me the last time I played Lumines. I played it for about 5 minutes and I was just like, I'm bored of Lumines. I played it for hours and hours in my life.
It never gets boring.
Yeah, but I was bored, so fundamentally.
Okay.
I just didn't want to play it. It was too early. I don't really like the music in the new one. Yeah.
Okay, I can't argue with that. I think you're wrong, but what can you say?
Yeah, I don't like that first tune. The future of the future. Hate it. So yeah, just give me something to play on my Vita, please.
Yeah, indeed. I think you're wrong. Anyway, okay, my number 9, as I was just saying about Indie Games Uprising, I downloaded all of those games. But while I was in the indie game space, I thought I'd download a couple of other games, and this one is not one of the 10.
I thought you'd given it up.
No, I thought I might as well see what was new. So I downloaded Bungie Ferret Tossing. With a title like that, they're either going for broke trying to draw attention to a terrible game or misguidedly thinking that that's going to draw people in. And actually, it's a really good game. It's really, really quite good. You're a chopper. You control a chopper with the left stick, and there's a big fat guy who looks like Chef from South Park dangling from a bungee cord. The left stick is the chopper. The right stick swings the guy. But by swinging the guy, that also alters the trajectory and force when you throw the ferrets. So if you swing...
What are you throwing them at?
Just little guys on the ground.
Oh.
It's like that classic arcade game where you're flying over mountains. Defender?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like Defender, but it's quite... The controls are actually quite intricate, you know. That if you swing him gently, it will just sort of drop it down. If you swing him really fast, he'll get the guys on the far end of the screen. And there's a multiplier thing. It's all about high scores. It's really quite good. Different ferrets as you progress, do different things. I mean, it's
I never thought I'd hear you say that.
It's. I mean, it sounds like it's going to be complete rubbish. It's not. It's actually a really well designed, well thought out game, which is, you know, I wasn't expecting that. I just thought, crap. But yeah, good, worth the download, but not worth the 80 points. You know what?
Really?
If you like that sort of thing, I almost paid for it.
That sort of thing.
No, but it's an arcade, a well designed arcade game, a well designed shooter. You know, scrappy but very, very well underneath. It's good.
Talking of actually well-designed arcade games, my number 8 is Trials Evolution.
Why?
Because it's very, very good, and I haven't played it for ages, and was showing someone that I know Trials who hadn't seen it. So
who hasn't seen Trials?
Just a guy I know who's not much of a gamer, you know how you know, but he's into that whole scene. So yeah, just he was kind of amazed by the physics of it, which I've never really thought about before. I've just like taken them for granted and just enjoyed the level design and everything. But he just really liked the motocross physics. But yeah, Trials Evolutions.
Isn't he now like locked up in a room with a 360?
He wants to get 360 to play Trials now. Yeah. Unsurprisingly.
Yeah, I mean it's a classic. I'm just glad I'm not hopelessly stuck playing it anymore.
Yeah, it's a good one to get out of, really.
Yeah, as a masterpiece, but
yes.
goddamn. Right, my number 8 is Indestructible on the iPhone. I don't have a hell of a lot to say about it. I'm pretty sure it's free. It's a very polished, very good looking. It's basically an isometric twisted metal.
Okay. Yeah.
Controls are nice, looks nice. The multiplayer's stable as hell, really impressively so. It's aggressive about asking for money. It constantly says, you know, buy 10 power-ups for like £500 or something like that. And it makes this weird mistake. And the only game, I'm sure other games have made this mistake, but the only one I could think of was The Club.
Right.
The multiplayer. They'd make all these huge maps, but all of the power-ups were in this tiny little area. So you don't explore the rest of the map. Everyone's just running around in circles shooting each other where the power-ups, waiting for them to spawn. And that's the same here. That's it. It's a very good isometric twisted metal. And it's very good.
What's it called again?
Indestructible.
Okay, that sounds alright.
It's good. It's really good, but you know.
That sounds quite good.
Yeah. No
Cool.
shelf life.
Yeah. My number 7 is Rayman Jungle Run on the iPhone.
Oh yeah, mixed reviews I've seen.
I like what I played. Looks absolutely gorgeous on a 4S. I'd imagine it looks nice on a 5 as well. I've not seen a 5 yet. It is more like a... It's not an endless game because it has levels, but the Rayman runs automatically and you kind of swipe him to jump and you have to collect the little glowy things. The same things from Rayman Origins. And as you progress, you get new abilities for Rayman, so the level design changes. And I thought it was really good. It's £2. Which is expensive for an iPhone game. But honestly, if you look at it, it looks as nice as Rayman Origins on the fucking Xbox. So, and that's £40 or £30 or whatever it costs. It's not as good a game. But I thought it was really nice what I played with it so far. So
have you got any indication of how much content's in there?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's like 40 levels or something, maybe 50.
How long's each level take? So it's worth the £2?
Yeah, I mean, it's only £2. Well, I know it's economies of scale. Is that even right? I don't know. But I shouldn't say things. But it's, I mean, it seems expensive because everything's 69p or free, but compared to, I mean, you pay £40 for a Vita game and probably...
Who pays £40
well,
for it?
Yeah, it's true, but, you know, it's only £2. It's only 2 nugs.
That's fair.
Yeah.
It's the problem that it's... Yeah.
Yeah, it does seem outrageously expensive. It's like, when I saw it, I was like, fuck off! And then, then I just realised that was less than sandwich.
Yeah.
Much less than a sandwich.
You can get a cheaper sandwich.
Well, you
Depends
can buy
what
the
go
bread,
for.
yeah.
If
Yeah,
you splash
it's
out
true.
with loads of ingredients, you're asking for trouble.
True.
Right, my number 7 is the Vault on the iPhone. I've been recommended this by my girlfriend and a couple of other people. It's really high in the App Store charts. Is it a freebie? I don't know. I think it is. Actually, I'm pretty sure it's free. It's completely free. The way it starts, I'm sure other iPhone games have done this before, but I've never seen it. Once you start playing it, the first thing that happens is you get a phone call. It replicates the iPhone. So I got a phone call. It comes up some woman's name and a picture. I was like, what? And then I was like, oh, okay, it's the fucking game.
Yeah.
And some bad actress says, oh, we must break into the vault, monsieur. I think she was French. I might be misremembering, but you've got to break into this vault. And to do that, you have 4 different sets of puzzles, and each one has like 10 or 12 individual puzzles in each sort of bracket.
Right.
It's really, really good, and I can understand why people love it, but there are slight variations, but basically every puzzle is one of those. It's fundamentally based on, you know, those old sliding puzzles where one block's missing, you've got to slide them. Yeah, my nightmare. There are slight variations on it. Some of them are slightly different, and the ones I did, I'm like, wow, that's really well designed. But when they start becoming just those, I was like, I can't do it.
I hate those things.
They're the worst things ever.
Yeah, I used to have one of Man at Arms from He-Man. Do you remember him?
Oh yeah.
And I could never do it. Never. I would spend hours on that fucking stupid piece of shit.
I always had them lying around, and they were never got done. And that's I can appreciate how well designed this is. And it's not like you're not just given one of those puzzles. There's a specific way around it. So people who love brain teasers and stuff like that will probably adore it. But I can't hack those kind of puzzles. So
No, I can't.
It's not something I can return to now that
I don't understand how anyone could enjoy doing that.
No, I'm in the same boat as that.
Damn. Something I do enjoy though is Rock Band Blitz, which is my number 6.
Is that your number 6?
Yeah, I played it a lot less this week. I think your high scores have just killed my love for it.
Really?
No. It's complete over-exaggeration. I still absolutely love it. But it is demoralising to see my scores getting trounced by both you and your other half. And me being so far ahead of everyone else on my friends' leaderboard, I'm just in this purgatory where I can't see how I'm ever going to beat your scores. So I just think, well, what am I playing it for? And it's a little bit sad. But the sale was good, and I bought a bunch of good songs, varying quality in the note tracks, but for 80 points each. When it worked, some of them didn't work, some reason it and charged 160. But anyway, still, if you haven't played Rock Band Blitz and you like Harmonix games and you've not bought it already from us fucking going on about it for the last 3 weeks, then sort it out now, really.
Yeah, I'll speak about it briefly in a bit because it's much higher up on my list. It's great, but I'll speak about it in a bit, very briefly. Right, my number 6 is Dead or Alive 5 on the Xbox 360.
So already you've told me you like it, but you didn't tell me why.
Yeah, I really do. I wasn't expecting to, but I mean, you didn't like 4, did you?
Yeah, I didn't like the way they changed the counter system in 4 because I played a fuckload of 2 at uni, which you may remember.
Yeah.
And a fair old amount of 3 as well. So I was actually really excited when 4 came out. I classed that as probably my favourite 3D fighting series at the time. And it was nothing to do with wobbly tits or anything. I just really liked the counter system. But they changed it to... It used to just be one button with counter, but they changed it to you had to
hold back,
press back or back and down or back and up or something. There was like 3 different ways of doing it. So you were always guessing at the attack, and it just changed the whole flow of the game. So I don't know what 5's like.
It's pretty much the same as that.
Oh.
But then I really liked 4. Although I might be misremembering, but wasn't Dead or Alive 4 the first game that ever had a lobby system, apart from Capcom vs SVC Chaos on the Xbox, where you could watch when you were in a lobby, you watched the other people fighting?
I think so, but it's a fucking spotty memory. That's an old game now.
Yeah, I remember that being... but the other thing I remember about it is that the netcode was terrible, because even if I was playing a mate, it was so sketchy.
Yeah, I definitely remember that.
Well, that's not the case now. They've kind of done a sort of bargain basement version of Street Fighter with the lobbies and stuff. It's nowhere near as extensive as that, but it works. And I had a load of online games today, and it worked fine. I've still got to play it a load more, but I'm just like... It was always a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but I was laughing my fucking head off during the campaign. The campaign is... I can't really remember the campaign in 4. Or any of the other ones, but basically it's you take it into. I mean, it's a story that's completely ridiculous. You take it in turns, and you periodically pick each player, and it's because you learn stuff throughout it. It's basically a tutorial,
right?
but it's a story. But it doesn't even have a plot. It's deliberately hilariously stupid. So the most ridiculous reasons for having a ruck. I mean, it's genuinely funny. Which ones were there? There was one bit where I don't do them justice. Something will happen and people will fight over it. The best one that I recall was a woman walks upstairs. I can't remember which character it was, and a guy's practicing with his nunchucks.
Right.
They smile at each other. He throws her the nunchucks. She just stands there, and they smash this massive vase. And then she goes, "What did you do that for?" And she goes, "Fight!" And they have a fight over it. It's stuff like that, and I was just laughing throughout it. There's not. I mean, if you've played Dead or Alive 4, there's not much to it. It's a lot slicker. It's a lot. It seemed faster to me, but then again, that is an old game, and I can't really remember it. But it's surprisingly refreshing. Something that's stripped back after stuff like Tekken. I'm really, really liking it. I can't wait to get stuck in. The parry system or the hold system is still the same as you described. So I quite like that because it's really satisfying when you sort of really do predict what they're going to do. What was new? I think was there a tag system in the last one? There wasn't there?
I think so.
It's not particularly elaborate. It's fairly straightforward. And it's things like chip damage, none. If you block, you don't get hit at all. Yeah. So there's a certain it's simple and I quite like it. But I need to play it a hell of a lot more. I played it for about 3 hours today, and I'm going to sesh it up tomorrow and then write a review of it. But I really like it. Really like it.
I'm up for a few games, definitely.
Right. Yeah. It's surprised by how much I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
My number 5 is Rocksmith, a game you talked about a few times on this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
I was with Ubisoft today and got some hands-on with Rocksmith, and I believe it's out this Friday in the UK. It's like a year later that it was in the US. I was always intrigued by the game after how you'd spoken about it on the podcast in the past. And getting a presentation and getting some hands-on time with it, it was quite clear to me that this is probably what I need to advance my guitar playing to the next level. And that sounds pretentious. Basically, I'm fucking shit at guitar, but I know the main chords, a couple of I know how to play bar chords, I know the intros to a few songs. But I've known this for 10 years and I've never been able to advance because I've had nobody to teach me. It seems like this is going to be the thing that might take it to the next level. So I'd be very interested to see if it can actually elevate me to learn some songs and learn some new chords and get my fingering better, for want of a slightly less strange turn phrase. And I was just really impressed by the interface. I really like the selection of music on there as well. It was right up my taste.
Right up my taste.
Right up my taste.
But once you progress your guitar playing to the next level, then what?
Then you keep progressing until you're a fucking gangster.
But I don't know. I mean, the game's great. I think it's really great. And if you have an interest in guitar playing, the ideal scenario for that game is to play it if you're already getting guitar lessons. If you're already sort of in the process of learning, it will sort of help that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be interested to see how that goes. Are you actually going to try and sort of have a go at sticking with it?
Well, yeah, because I do still play I pick up the guitar most days and strum it because my little boy likes dancing along to my 4 chords. So it'd be nice to actually be able to play some tunes after 12 years of learning. After 12 years, I should be a fucking Jimmy Page, but I'm just.
If you did, I do wonder if anyone will appear over the next few years who was taught by that. It's unlikely, but I'd like to see that.
Yes, if they're good.
Yeah, well, keep us posted on that. If you actually stick with it, I'll be interested to see what you think of it because I don't know much about the guitar, so I don't have a fucking.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll find some time to play it. It'll probably be a long-term project, but yeah.
Right. All right, Genuine Champ. All right, my number 5 is Pro Evolution Soccer.
Okay, that's by later in the list.
Okay. I still think it's absolutely fantastic. Unfortunately, FIFA's come late. I'm getting it tomorrow, and after that, it's going to be 48 hours solid FIFA pretty much. And I still think that FIFA's going to be the better game. Having played it over the course of the past sort of 6 months on and off, I still think that I'm going to prefer that ever so slightly. But PES is still absolutely great. The online works like a dream. I haven't had a bad sort of sketchy game.
The only bad game I've had was the one where we played together. Strangely, it was slightly.
Yeah.
There would be all the little freeze, but I played a couple after that and it was smooth.
Yeah, well, that's weird.
Yeah.
But it's just, it really is. It is a different proposition to FIFA. Every game I've had, almost every game I've had online, when the game's finished, I've wished I could shake the other guy's hand because you just have those thrilling. Anyone could have it. I find it terribly difficult to describe because I don't know fucking anything about football. But in terms of that game, I don't know. It really does. The whole thing that FIFA have said, they're big capturing the drama of real world football. What is it? Capture the unpredictability. And, they might do that, and I'm sure they will. But Pro Evo fucking does it. I can't imagine it.
And it always has done. That's always been their magic, and even during the dark days, that was still their magic. It just the rest of it was so sketchy that you couldn't really appreciate that side of it. But now they brought back the quality, and it feels like an extension of the PS2 games all of a sudden. Yeah,
I mean all the things that any Pro Evo games ever got right, this pretty much gets all of them right as well. Having said that, there's two things wrong with it that I've noticed so far, having played it quite a bit. The offside. How many offsides do you get per match?
Not an abnormal amount.
Every football game I've ever played, if there's, sometimes you get the feeling that you were a little bit offside, but that sort of just makes you feel more like you're playing a game of football because they just didn't notice. Every single time there's any question that anyone's offside. I mean, every game I've had 6, 7, 8 offsides, and it just gets, come on. I mean, it just keeps happening. I'm just like, this is just fucking boring. Like, it just happens so much. I think they should try and tone that down a little bit because I've never known a football game to have that many offside calls in a game. Have you not noticed that?
No, not at all.
That's weird. I keep noticing it non-stop, but then again, I do the old lob through ball non-stop. Speaking of which, the other thing that's wrong with it, every football game has a cheat team. It's not literally a cheat team, but one that's slightly, when you see the other opponent pick them when you're playing online, you just roll your eyes because it's like, oh god, back in the Pro Evo 3 days, it was Brazil because they had that winger, or was it one of the strikers? I can't remember his name. He was just like unstoppable. You couldn't defend against him. He was like a tank.
Fat Ronaldo?
No, I can't
Adriano?
Remember. Adriano, maybe it was. I can't remember. But anyway, for the last few years, it's been FC Barcelona in every football game, and in this game, I think it's actually broken. I've played FC Barcelona a few times online, but there's this one guy, actually two guys that I played, and whenever they got the ball, almost every single time they got the ball, they do a long lob through ball. Messi would receive it in space, almost always one-on-one with the keeper. I played a guy, I lost 7-0 to him.
Right.
He could be at his own goal line by the keeper. Long lob through ball. Messi would get it, run on goal. I'm like, this is a joke. Every time. And he was always in space. I'm like, there's not a lot I can do to fucking stop that.
Yeah.
So that's something that I think they could do with fixing. Because the guy, I honestly was sitting there like, this guy's taking the piss. He knows that this is a surefire. Because honestly, I'd clear the ball, someone would get it, he'd lob through ball it back, Messi would get it, straight on the one-on-one with the keeper again. I'm like, that's a break. But aside from those two things, it's a fucking great game. Just quit if you see him pick FC Barcelona.
No, those things I've had issues with myself. I'm just still kind of enraptured by the game, and as I've said before, very happy to have my old favourite back in my life. That's a very formative game for me. I've talked about it before. That was the game that I've played the most by a mile. It does nothing else even comes close. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours on that series, and it's just nice to have it back. I didn't think I'd ever see the day, really, even though I played last year's PES more than FIFA. I always assumed that FIFA 13 was just going to bring the thunder again, which it has, but I didn't think PES would make that leap that it made from 12.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I can't wait to play FIFA just to compare them.
Yeah. They do a lot similar. We'll talk about FIFA in a minute.
All right. Well, that was my 5.
Okay. So my number 4 is my boy Super Hexagon.
Oh, okay.
So I said I was going to use it before my jiu-jitsu tournament, and I did, and it did actually completely calm me down. I thought it might. I was having the nerves and the adrenaline was going, and I was feeling tired. It's quite common, like pre-competition feelings, and so I just sat there and put it on, put the earphones in, and just played it for about 10 minutes, and completely kind of forgot what I was about to go and do, and I don't know, just completely calmed me down because you're concentrating so hard on this ridiculously difficult game, and I was very happy by that situation, and it allowed me to be much more comfortable in what I was doing after that. And then later in the week, I beat the second level, Hexagon. I beat the 60-second mark on that one.
Do the levels actually end?
No, it can keep going, but you beat 60 seconds, that means you beat it.
Oh, okay.
So you can keep going and set a time, and it will change, and it gets faster and turns into like a turbo mode. But the idea is to basically, once you hit 60 seconds, because it says like point, line, triangle, square. Then it goes pentagon, hexagon, and then you've hit hexagon, and that means you beat the level. Okay. So I've beaten hexagon and hexagoner now. So I feel like I've upgraded to a belt. If it was a martial art, I'll be playing it for a long time. I love it.
Do you think you'll complete the hardest one?
I'm really trying, but I'm only 18 seconds in at the moment. But
fuck.
But I was listening to Idle Thumbs actually, and the guy made a good point. He said, in terms of the actual amount of hours that he's played the game, it's probably only a few hours in total, even though he feels like he's played it more than anything else, because the sessions are so small, but they're so intense. So, yeah, probably only played about 2.5 hours on Super Hexagon in total. But, I'll get there.
Okay, fair enough. I'm definitely going to go back to it. I just want to wait for the fucking steam to subside a little bit because, too much razzmatazz.
Yeah.
Okay, God. My number 4 is R.A.W, which is short for Realms of Ancient War. I don't know why they bother with the R.A.W. It doesn't suit it at all. It's one of the most generic video games ever made. It's on the Xbox Live, and I'm pretty sure it's on PSN as well. It's one of those action RPG dungeon crawlers, Diablo, whatever you want to call it. I mean, but like it's so painfully generic.
Loot.
Hey?
Loot.
Yeah.
Skill trees.
Actually, yeah, but I mean, the thing is, the loot, there's a lot of... I don't know where to begin, really. I'll keep it brief. Basically, I felt kind of sorry for it because it felt like the developers had been kneecapped financially at some point, because there's 3 characters, and you got the feeling that it was meant to be an online co-op experience, but there's no online co-op. It's only local, and you can only have 2 players co-op. And I was like, I feel kind of bad because they clearly wanted it to be something and they didn't have the funding or whatever the fuck. The world is so boring. It's just, there's no invention at all. The sound design is particularly bad because it's basically the whole game's silent basically until you're in this village at the beginning. There's no sound, and then you walk up to like a campfire, and it's like rustling paper. Right. It's really, really chip shop. It's just cheap as hell. And orcs destroyed the land, and we're gonna. The only good thing is the opening cutscene when there's fucking. The usual fucking Lord of the Rings, this is a battle of age and but whatever. There's a really good bit when it says this battle has been going on for centuries, and I was like, oh god, backstory. But then the guy goes, the battle has been raging for so long that nobody can remember how it started. And I was like, oh thank god, it spared me backstory completely. It throws you straight in. The most fucked up thing about it is that there's 3 classes: warrior, wizard, rogue. Wizard and rogue obviously are supposed to be ranged characters, but every single enemy in the game rushes you. Right. So you have to have melee combat. So you have to be a warrior. If you play it on local co-op, everyone just gets rushed. You get swarmed by so many enemies at once. There's no evasive maneuvers at all. You can't jump. There's no combat roll. So you just walk in, slash. It's unspeakably boring. There's things that happen. There's random ideas as well that aren't fully formed. There's like, in God of War when you get hold of those beasts and you basically control them. Yeah. There's an approximation of that lasts, but it only lasts for 5 seconds at a time, and then you get thrown off and get walloped by all the enemies. It's just, I can't even begin to describe. You play through it and you're just like, this is just, there's nothing fresh, nothing inventive about this at all. But having said that, there's a really nice variety to the levels, and there's actually something quite nice about the combat. They've put the trigger buttons to be replenish health and replenish your magic. Mm-hmm. And that's because in combat, those go down so fast that you have to keep an eye on them. And so it adds a little something. So it's more fast-paced, rather than just hacking a slasher, you're getting walloped so much that you have to keep replenishing your health. So it's a little bit... It's fast. It's a little bit sort of fizzy. I don't know how best to describe it, but God, it's just no invention. It's just you just I don't even. I don't even want to talk about it anymore.
It's killing me.
Yeah.
Even thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, stay away from it. Raw, R.A.W.
Snore.
Yeah.
Which one was that?
That was my 4.
My 3 is Pez. We talked about Pez. I love it. Don't really need to add much more. We talked about it probably too much now on the podcast, but if you're an old school Pez head, do it.
I love it too. I'm just waiting until tomorrow when I can really make a decision about which one's the one, because I've got friends who don't know which one to get because I'm going to play with them and stuff.
Yeah.
So I say tomorrow, the day after tomorrow probably when we've seshed it. I think FIFA's going to beat it, but if it does, it won't be by much. Okay, well, my number 3 is Battlefield 3. As we said last week, we were having problems on Rush with this gunship, and we weren't the only ones because loads of people complained to DICE, and then DICE announced earlier this week or late last week, they said there's not a patch, they've just modified it, just because there'd been so many complaints, they changed it more or less straight away, which is the great thing about Battlefield. If enough people complain, it gets changed. And I saw that and I was like, that's great. And they said, here are the patch notes. And they put the patch notes up on the website. And I read them and I was just like, I swear to God, DICE are on crack sometimes. On the one hand, I understand that they end up in a position where they have to please everybody.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, why did you... What they've done is they've made the gunship spawn less frequently, but only by about 15 seconds. So it takes longer to respawn. But they've made it harder. They've made it more powerful against jets and anti-air weapons. So it's like it's in the air for longer, but it respawns 15. Yeah. I mean, I'm just like, you guys, they've robbed Peter to pay Paul. What's the point? The whole point was that it was overpowered. It's the same thing, just in a different
way.
You're just like, what the? Who thought that was a good idea? That's the problem. I mean, but again, they're open to the community, and everyone complains, and everyone wants this, and the guys who just love fucking causing carnage and getting multiple kills in that thing complain as loud as the people who hate getting so blah 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 blah. So, but Battlefield 3. Armoured Kill.
Number 2 for me is FIFA. Technically, it isn't number 2 because I haven't played it this week, but embargoes, so I'm going to slot it in number 2.
That's fair enough.
I actually played it a while ago, but very, very, very good. By this point, people who played the demo I would have thought, so I don't need to talk about how they've changed tactical defending too much. I don't need to talk about the first touch system that much because you probably know about that. Different players have different levels for their first touch, and you have to be much more aware of that. So I'll talk about how it doesn't quite do the magic that PES does for me. Not quite. It's very, very fast, and the pitch is still small. FIFA's pitch is strangely small compared to Pro Evo's, and this makes for a game that doesn't really flow like football in the same way that Pro Evo does. It doesn't mean the game's not fun. It's tremendously fun. It still looks like football in many ways. The animation's superb. The physics are much better than they were in 12. The jostling physics, the physical interaction, whatever it's called. I can't remember the name of the engine. And the shooting's better than it was in 12. There's loads more deflections and the ball ricochets, and it is getting to the point where this whole unpredictability angle that they've been pushing, they've done good work in getting it there, and the fucking presentation in the career mode and things like that is superb. It feels like you're watching Sky Sports on match day. It's cutting away to audio from other matches, and there's actually a guy telling you what's happening in the match and who scored, and over at the stadium like for Sunderland or whatever when you're playing at Old Trafford. The cup draws are read out by Jeff Shreves, the fucking transfer, all that stuff's just, damn man, the presentation's just through the roof. But something about Pro Evo, man, that just, FIFA's never had it. It's never, as good as FIFA's been, when it turned the corner and got better than Pro Evo, it still never quite got to that level where Pro Evo was back in the day. Even though the games were technically better because they were much more technically advanced, it just never quite had that something, that Pro Evo magic, the fucking rage, the drama, the ecstasy, the glory.
Not even 10 and 11 had that.
No, not in the same way, because every goal felt the same.
You've always said that. I don't understand that. I mean, I really don't know what you mean.
I can actually remember 8 or 9 goals from my recent PES sessions. I can picture them and roll them back in my mind. I can think about it now, like the time where I put Welbeck through and he just did a little curler into the top corner just as the keeper came out, or the time I turned my man with Van Persie and smashed it in the top corner. I can remember them vividly. I can't remember a single goal I scored in FIFA 13. In fact, I can remember one. I scored one with Robert Lewandowski, a really nice first-time shot from the edge of the box. That's the only goal I can remember from the whole hours and hours I played of it. And as a football fan, you remember the goal. If I think about the last season, it's just a succession of goals, be it from my team, be it from other team. I can remember them. That like the intricacies and the complete difference in one goal to another. That's the beauty of football for many people. Almost everyone that loves the sport, and Pro Evo just has that. And I'm starting to think that they may have just sold their soul to the devil years ago or something. Put some magical voodoo in the game, because as hard as EA tries, and fuck me, they try hard, and they put money into it, and they make a great product, it just doesn't seem to have that magic. Almost this year, but not.
I mean, admittedly, I've only played it periodically over the course of, actually more like, well, ever since the beginning of the year. I think I first played it way back in January or February, and I've played it several occasions since then. I still think it's going to be better than Pro Evo, but I can't wait to find out. But I never understand when you say that about memorable goals, because I don't have. It's difficult. I suppose you have to be a football fan to sort of really focus on.
I think
stuff
you
like
do.
That.
But I mean, you don't even watch replays. I pore over replays in Pro Evo.
You don't do that. That's bad etiquette.
No, because not when I'm playing online, but when I'm playing Master League or in the Champions League or something, and I'll watch it, and I'll watch it from other players' angles. I always have done, see their reactions and things like that. It's just, I'm not alone though. I mean, it's just a football fan thing, because ultimately football fans are just geeks. It's just not a geeky, it's not considered geeky to be a football fan, but it's just as geeky as being a fan of anything else, just as being a fan of fucking programming. You just get into the minutiae of it. But football's accepted, so you're allowed to be geeky about football. But, I in our two-player games, I'd love to watch the replay of every goal. I like to pore over them. But that's just the football fan in me.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I'm looking forward to smashing it up, because the impression I've had of it so far from the few times that I played it has proper. I mean, PES has blown me away, but I just can't wait. I just can't wait to see how they fare.
I actually think you'll probably like FIFA more.
Yeah.
I must hammer home that it's only a small difference for me. I mean, I'm preferring PES, but it's not like FIFA's a fucking bad game. It's still very, very, very good. Just a tiny, tiny bit inferior to me, but it's tiny.
Fair enough. Okay, right, my number 2 is Rock Band Blitz. We've already spoken about it. It's just what I do now. I just play Rock Band Blitz. I've played all the DLC from Rock Band 1, Rock Band 2. I rebought Lego Rock Band, done all that, bought a load of DLC, blah blah blah. The only thing I hope is that I also bought two songs from the sale, because they're songs that were in frequency, only they're different mixes. I bought the No Doubt song and the Freeze Pop song.
Oh, yeah.
They're different mixes, which is quite annoying. I'd love two things. If Harmonix did like a downloadable reskin, 800 points, it looks slightly different with tunes from frequency. 800 points is probably a bit cheap if they're going to put the music in it, but still. And I'd love some kind of multiplayer. I really would love some kind of multiplayer, just because I can't get enough of it, and it's more ways to play it would be great. But has it sold that well? I mean, I know that I'm in the top 5 on a shitload of songs, and I'm number 2 and 3 on a few. But isn't that just because not many people have bought it? It doesn't feel like a thriving community of people are playing it.
I don't know. I mean, the leaderboards go quite deep.
Not as deep as you think. I mean, I've looked at. I think it's difficult because you look at some leaderboards for DLC, and you don't know how many people bought that song, or how many people imported it from a previous Rock Band game, etc., etc. But I hope there's more life in it. I hope that's not the end of it. I hope they bring out more. I hope that's not just going to be as it is. Although it can be, because there's just DLC.
Yeah, that's it. It's just a new angle for them to sell their DLC. But that sounds cynical, but it's fine. It's just, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that being what it's for, because it's so good.
It's so good.
Yeah, that's just fine. There's nothing wrong with making money and wanting to stretch more money out of your already established system. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, and all I'm gunning for now is I've got to get number 1 on something. I'm second in the world on.
Shoot the Runner.
Was it Shoot the Runner?
It is, isn't it?
I don't know. I thought actually I'm second in the world on more than one, maybe 2. One of them I think is the Beastie Boys. I can't remember what it's called. But yeah, I've got to get to number 1 or something. I'm so close. But yeah, Rock Band Blitz.
I think you'll do it. And this is what I'm dealing with. The guy that's the best player in the world.
Yeah.
Second best.
Get that game in. It's done.
So, assuming both our number 1s are the same.
Yeah. Borderlands 2. Borderlands 2.
I think you probably played it a lot more than me. I'm level 9.
Okay.
Level 10. Really, really enjoying it so far.
Yeah. Are you doing it alone?
Yeah, I am doing it alone at the moment. I saw you guys you were playing it with a buddy of ours, and you guys were too far ahead to jump in. I didn't see the point. Another friend of ours was a little bit higher, and I thought maybe jumping into his game, but then I was coming to London, so I didn't. But I want to play co-op, but I'm not having a bad time on my own at all. I'm enjoying it a lot more than the first game. The way it introduces you to the game and the world is so much better than it does in the first game. I was kind of enamoured by the story, even though I don't really know what's going on. The characters are they're quite funny.
Yeah, they're all. Yeah. I mean, I have to respect the humour. They've put the humour to the forefront, and it is genuinely amusing. Yeah. It's not. There's nothing worse than the game trying to be funny and failing.
Yeah,
but
there's a few. It makes me smile. I don't think it's amazingly witty or anything like that, but
no, but
it makes me smile.
For a video game,
yeah.
Considering so many of them try to be, aside from Valve, which they're in a class of their own. When a game tries to be funny, a lot of the time it's just like, please,
please stop.
Did you have to review it?
No.
Oh God, honestly, I think I must have been having a bad day. But when I wrote my review, I completely just faltered. I was like, what the hell? There's so much. It's like, where do you start? If you, in order to write a proper review of Borderlands 2, it'd have to be so long. So I ended, but I found it really difficult because I didn't know where to start. But I mean, it is fantastic. I mean, the thing is, it's good on your own. I've played it on my own for a prolonged period. I played it with the two of us are now up to, I think we're 19. Yeah. I've played it with 3, and I've played it with 4, and it's just, it doesn't get better than when it's on level 4. And I still think it's funny that it is one of the geekiest. It brings the geekiest things from stuff like MMOs and RPGs that I never thought I'd get involved in. I mean, do you remember that old Leroy Jenkins video? Of course. Yeah. I found that funny. But the funniest thing I found, because that was before I even knew what World of Warcraft was, it's when at the beginning we're like, I'm just going to do a number crunch real quick, and I'm like, number crunch? And then we've got a 68% chance of survival. And I was like, what the fuck are these people doing with themselves? But the other day when we were playing Borderlands 2, no, I was really just like, what?
I remember that.
That mystified me, and I found it funny. I was like, what? This is a whole subculture I have no knowledge of. But the other day, me and a friend of mine were a bit too eager. We were enjoying ourselves, and we were doing a bit too well. So we went too far ahead of ourselves in the story. We weren't leveled up enough. Yeah. And we got so far through the mission that we couldn't turn back and we couldn't quit. So we had to do it. And we found ourselves before the big final battle having these incredibly involved conversations. Right, when you see me do that. I'm going to run back and do that. Use that weapon on him. And we were just doing all this intense sort of strategizing, and that's brilliant. That's all multiplayer games should be like that. It's it's the reason Battlefield's great. You have to be communicating. You have to be strategizing, and that's why it's so great. I think it's fantastic. I mean, people were expecting. They've got what they wanted. It's like you hear stories about bugs and glitches and stuff, but they seem to be relatively minor. But something that's sprawling and vast, and the amount of things you can upgrade, the amount of things you can do to your character, the amount of things you can do to your guns, all of those variables working together is just amazing, and it's just a fun shooter. Yeah, it's just fun.
It is fun. When I think of it as a pure shooter, when I'm playing it, sometimes I'll start to think of it as a shooter, and I start to get a little bit bored because the AI is, it's not Halo, is it? It doesn't have quite that level of quality. But when I switch my mindset and think of it as the dungeon crawler, which it is...
Yeah, it's all about levelling up.
Yeah, all about loot and levelling up. then I start having to write again, and I think I really do want to play this in co-op, but I'm enjoying the progress through the story. It's not like I'm captivated by the plot and I want to know what happens next, but I'm just enjoying the flow through. You know, it's really nicely paced and how it's introducing new areas, and it keeps adding, you know, here's another layer of customization, here's another layer of I still haven't unlocked all the different ways I can customize my guy. You know, like grenade customizations and stuff like that. So I've still got that to look forward to. And then the thing that I loved about the original was, you know, the point of the game, falling in love with guns. You know, finding a new one and trying it out and go, oh, hello.
Yeah.
Look at this bad boy right here. I mean, I've got an awesome, like, flammable pistol that inevitably in an hour's time I'll think is a piece of cunt, but now it's my boy.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing later on. You have to make sure you've got certain weapons in your arsenal, because that's something we took a little while to get used to. Some enemies are completely immune to some sorts of fire, and you have to just swap your weapons around and stuff. I can't believe how much is going on in it. It's just sprawling opus, and I haven't, you know, there's some kind of break that everyone's talking about that they're going to patch, but for that to be the sole problem with something this vast is amazing. And the first game was, you kind of felt like you were sort of walking around these sort of empty wastelands. So it was fun, but the fact that there's characters everywhere and there's kind of communities, although the main hub, the first sort of main, I don't know if you've got that yet.
Yeah, that's where I am.
Yeah. It design-wise, it's almost exactly the same as one of the places in Raid.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. Yeah.
I mean, I was like, this is quite uncannily the same almost. Some of the vendors are in the same places. The steps down to the main square, I was like, this is weird. And there are moments when it does feel a little bit like Rage. But yeah, I mean, it's a fact. I mean, it's, you know, every one of my friends list is playing it, and that's because it is so goddamn great. Although I think you're missing out. You need to do it on co-op.
No, I will. I don't know if I'll play through and then play through again on co-op or what I'll do. Co-op's just such an awkward thing for me, because the time I get to game, if I'm not reviewing, is really late at night.
Yeah.
Where people don't tend to be playing, and, you know, I can't really talk. But then obviously you don't want to play randoms, because they're just going to snaffle up all the good lootage.
We tried that the other day. Me and my mate, we said, let's open it up, and 2 randoms came in, and they were just constantly running ahead, running past the bad guys, and then we just like, what's going on? We kill the guys, move forward, and all we find is a bunch of empty lockers. And like, you fucking shitheads!
Stop snaffling.
Exactly. Yeah. And then another mate of ours joined us last night, and he was like, I've got this. What have you got? And we swapped all our shit out.
That's what you know.
Like, this game's
that's what
fucking
I want to do.
Business. Yeah. I would give. I'd give my arm for this to have come out in fucking January or something, because now
it's going to be tough because
everything's coming out. I was just like, I wanted. It's the kind of thing that friends of mine are so obsessed with that they've got the time to devote to it. But I'd love to really, really get. I mean, 2 of my friends have taken a whole week each off work just to play it.
Oh, I thought they'd been playing it all day.
Yeah, like you turn on, like there they are. And they've got, but that's the thing about the other thing that's great about it. The first one, there wasn't a lot. I mean, there were differences obviously, but there wasn't a lot between the 4 classes. Here, the game's different. Yeah. It's so different, and within that, it's different when you play it on your own. It's different when you play it with 2.
I think I'm playing as a different class to you and our friend as well. I'm Zero, the assassin.
Oh right, yeah. I that's when I played it like a few weeks ago, and I spoke about it. That's that's my character who does the sneak behind you and melee attack.
Yeah, he's gleaming.
Very cool. It's a shame that because me and the mate I'm playing with it at the moment, he's a soldier, I'm a gunzerker, and you'd love to have someone holding back a bit and doing sniping and stuff like that. You need
I'm Snipe City.
Shit.
Let me level up a bit. I'll dive in.
Well, we're not going to get going again until Sunday, but you're not going to play it.
Yeah, I'm not around for ages. You're going to be fucking level 25.
Yeah.
Anyway, nobody cares about that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, Borderlands 2. You're already playing it. So
if you're not, you really do need to.
You already are. Everyone's fucking playing it.
Yeah.
It's huge, isn't it?
Yeah.
And fucking proof that people don't want boring, samey, brown shit. Yeah. Clearly, they don't. Not anymore. That's not safe, and it doesn't. I don't think it even sells anymore. They want to be challenged. They want to be intrigued and interested. Same thing with fucking. We just went to see Looper. People want to see stuff like that. They don't want the same old boring shit. Obviously. Yeah, people are. They're looked down upon and treated like idiots, but people want to be challenged.
When it's good. Although, if you're talking about visuals and just the level of invention, so many other games don't perform, unfortunately. The Darkness 2 springs to mind. That was an incredibly ballsy game, and unfortunately, but then again, it's just, Borderlands, the Take-Two, they know how to market a game. Even when on some occasions it's not all that. Although I did like Mafia 2.
No, I
didn't. But they marketed it well, and they marketed this really well. They know how to sell a game, and that's part of the... But,
marketed this brilliantly.
But the game itself is just fucking great. Yeah. So, job done.
Sweet. Well, it's been an experience doing this live.
Apologies if there's been we're hunched over one microphone, so if there was any sound problems, they will not be here next week.
But thank you for listening to 30 episodes deep now.
Yeah.
And I guess that's about it. So thank you very much. Peace out. Oh yeah, the fucking website.
Playlist.com, Facebook, Twitter, Scoocher. What was it called? Stitcher.
Yeah.
Done. Yeah, thanks for listening. Apologies if it sounded like shithouse.
Right, we out.
Genuine.
I can't hear you! You look like candy! You're cool! You look like candy! Up top, you look like candy! Yeah!